everybody, and welcome to episode 169 of the I Rock Knits podcast. My name is Cori Eichelberger, and today we are chatting with friends, and this is my friend Alea Ellison. Welcome.
Hi there,
I'm
thank you.
so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Alea is the person who just ran, organized, and completed the Crafters Gonna Craft event that we were at with her friend and partner in crime on that specific thing, Catherine.
Yes.
And so she's the one I taught for, and after the event we got to talking about her business and how they want to do, she wants to do more events, and she teaches knitting and does a lot with crochet. And so I thought, oh, what a perfect person to have on the podcast. So she drove out to my house today, way out here, because she lives in Minneapolis. So she's local to me, which is lovely to have on a local knitwear person. So I'm just glad you could come out. And Chevy has already promptly plopped himself on her feet and made her his new friend.
I love
so
it.
He's under the table being a good boy, because as long as he can be by us. And so, yeah. She brought a bunch of stuff to share with us today, but let's start with a little bit with how we met. I remember running into you at Rhinebeck this year.
Yeah.
And you came up to me and we started talking, and I knew you locally from running into you at different events and things that had happened here.
Yeah.
But we really connected at Rhinebeck this year. We exchanged numbers, and were you already at that point knowing that you were going to organize an event?
It was, it was the very beginning stages of it. So we started in September. We kind of like August started talking about it, and September started planning. So then October, we would have been like at the beginning stages of our planning.
Yeah, I felt like there was, we maybe had talked briefly a little bit about that. So we had exchanged numbers, and we followed each other on Instagram. And so, but it wasn't really until this winter when we hooked up and you guys asked me to teach that we really started going back and forth with a little bit more information. Yeah,
it's been really fun as far as like, I mean, the event was amazing, but I really got to connect with a lot of local instructors and vendors, and it was just like the networking was amazing. Everyone has been really wonderful. So it's been fun. Like meeting new fiber people.
Yeah. The vendors were great. Yeah. And the event was great. The brewery did really well. They had one of their best days, and we had decent weather. It was cool, but there wasn't,
That's my favorite kind. When it's cool outside, it's not too hot, because then you can wear your knits, and then it's not too hot. I don't want to be too hot.
Yeah, for sure. So Alea arrived in a cardigan and a cowl, and it is now gotten hot here. And I left this morning when it was cooler, and so we don't look like we match in the same climate right now. But because she's like, it's hot, and I opened the windows, and I should have changed as well, because I'm hot. But I'm just like too lazy to go in and find something else.
I brought a shirt. I'm wearing a shirt that says yarn on it, so I was like, that's close enough. Yeah. And then these are Tinker's Hollow earrings. So she was one of our vendors at the event.
Yep.
So,
she's the wood jewelry lady.
Wood jewelry and like stitch markers and tea strainers and all that stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just, we have the windows open because it's 65? 64 today?
Is it
something
today?
Like that?
I didn't even look. I just was I can't believe how hot it is. I didn't bring a coat. I was wearing a cardigan, but
maybe
no coat.
It's not quite that warm, but I do know we're scheduled to get snow and rain tomorrow and be like 26 for the high on Saturday.
I'm okay with that.
So we are going to go from this to back in the cold weather.
I like it.
So tell us where you're from.
I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
So I moved to Minneapolis in 2018. Because I used to work in the pet industry. I was a territory manager, and there was a lot of opportunities in that industry in Minnesota. I had no idea where my crafting journey would go at that point. It was just like, I was coming for the pet industry and the fact that I had some friends that lived here. And so when I got here, it kind of really, really took off. Like, I was still working in the pet industry for a while, but I met a ton of people at yarn shops and really like expanded my skill set and stuff with crochet, Tunisian crochet, and knitting. So,
we have a ton of events, especially in the spring. We have the shop up coming up, and then it used to be yarn over in the spring. Now it's in the fall because there was so much, and then Shepherd's Harvest right away. So we have a lot of stuff going on that you can attend.
And tons of just shops, really good shops. We have so many, and lots of smaller events too that are just like social stitching events that you can all over the cities.
For sure, because that brew and make with you. Brew and make. I can never get them in the right order. Like why? Anyway, that's Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to that one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to too. I teach Friday and I teach Saturday. So Sunday I'm going to be like, oh, do I want to go out to another event? But I'm an extrovert, so I will.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, I told Matt today at knitting that I thought I would go over there. So you started in crochet or you started in knitting?
I started in knitting. I've actually been knitting for almost 18 years at this point. The first year I had one of those big metal knitting needle, just like 2 needles, and I didn't know anything about gauge. I didn't know anything about yarn. So I would just go to whatever Michael's or Joann's and just grab random things I thought were pretty. And I didn't know how to hold them because I didn't really get taught how to knit. So I would put one in between my knees and then I would just hold the other one and just be like doing it like this. And I made everyone in my family scarves the first year that I learned how to knit. They were awful, but I was so proud of myself. And then I just like started learning more and learning about, like way later, I started learning about gauge and got better needles and stuff like that, you know. I
learned with one underneath my armpit.
Did you?
Back 40 years ago, so I'm
Isn't
much
that
older,
called
but
something?
And
it's called like some specific kind of knitting, isn't it?
Probably. What I call it is old school.
Okay.
But that's how I learned, was to do it that way.
Mm-hmm. And I knitted first, and then I actually a friend of mine crocheted, and I wanted to learn because I was starting to make scarves for dogs, and I was knitting them, and I thought they would go faster if I learned crochet. So I started learning crochet, and I failed. And I was like, this is too hard. I like knitting, and I'm not going to do this. So I quit, and then I kept knitting for another year, and then I was like, no, I'm going to learn how to do this. So I finally did. And then I loved it because you can go so fast.
Yeah.
And so I really started like testing, and my crochet and my knitting skills just expanded quite a bit from starting to test, because that's really where like I didn't know what to learn next. Loved crochet, started doing that pretty often, and expanded my skills from doing tests, because you sign up for a test for something you don't know how to do, and then you better learn how to do it quick.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I found Tunisian crochet through Toni Lipsy, learned, you know, through her videos, and became obsessed with that. And then it was like, when I started my crafting journey, I remember thinking, I don't understand how all these people come up with all these designs all the time. People are coming out with designs all the time. How do they do it? And once I got to a certain level with my skills, it was like something uncorked. And then all of a sudden I had all these ideas. So then I started designing too. And it was just like, now I can't stop.
Yeah. So when you were doing test knits, where were you finding test knits to do? Instagram, Ravelry, friends?
It was all through Instagram for me. This was back when Instagram wasn't all about the algorithm. It was more just like, you know, if you follow someone, then you get to see their stuff. And
back in the good old days.
Yeah, you could post photos and it was okay.
Yeah.
And people would see them, you know. But like, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of
where you found them.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you become a tester for someone, you can get on their list, right?
Yeah, and then you get more experience with it. And then once you've done it once you've kind of like tested, then you're considered a tester, so other people will, you know, pay attention to you. Because sometimes it depends on the person, but some people need more experienced testers, and some people will like to include beginners, you know?
Yep.
So that if you're trying to do a beginner pattern, you need beginners in that test.
Yep.
So that you know what kind of questions they're going to ask. If you just get people who are like experts into your test, then you're not going to know what the feedback is from the beginners.
Absolutely.
So.
I like to have a lot of beginners. I like
Yeah.
or advanced beginners, people who would ask questions before they would just go ahead and say, I know what this means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
That's really important.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't know about you, I always feel a sense of guilt if they proceeded and didn't ask the question and then they have to rip back. I still feel guilty even though they did the thing. It's a lot.
Testing is the worst. I hate testing because I hate getting the emails where they found something. And the first people that jump right on your tests and start right away, and there are some who hold back a day or two because they know that something might be found. You know, I feel so bad that they have to make the mistake, you know? And so it's, I wish I could pay my testers a gazillion dollars because I'm so thankful for them. I have a couple who are so loyal, you know, and they are so willing to rip back or run out of yarn. And you have to be kind of willing to say, if there was an error in row 3 and you didn't see it and you get to row 6 and someone finds the error in row 3, the rest of your thing's going to be off. You have to go back on a big piece. That stinks.
It does. And it's like, if it was me doing it, I'd be like, no problem, I'll rip back. But if it was when I'm running a test, I still feel guilty, even though I know it's like really important that happens.
Absolutely. I wish we could just tech edit and have it be perfect.
Oh, that would be awesome.
But, you know, it's the wording. It's not always just the numbers. It's the words and the explanation that sometimes just isn't clear. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about this beauty. Okay. Let's talk about this back here.
We have a couple of things. Yeah. So I brought some of my favorite things. This one is a design by, I don't know how to say her name. If it's like Linda Skuja or Skuja, I don't know how to say it, but she used to be
Skuja.
Skuja. Okay. She used to be 11 Handmade, but I think she's now just under her name.
I'll put it down below so they'll be able to see it always.
So this is the Inanna sweater. I bought this yarn for the DRK Everyday sweater.
Oh, okay.
And started that, and like all of her increases it'll be like no increases, and then all the increases. So with this yarn, because it was solid, you could really see it, and because it was designed for a marled yarn. So I ripped it out and I was looking for something and I decided to do this crochet one. Crochet takes a lot more yarn.
Oh.
A lot more yarn. So that's why it has no sleeves. So
it's cute short sleeved. We're going to tip it forward so everyone can see.
It's a lot of short rows and it was really fun to do. This was one of the first times I did just a ton of crochet short rows, and you get this beautiful shaping. It's a yoke sweater, so you do top down. And it was just so much fun to do.
And these kind of look like baubles on the screen, but they're not.
They're puff stitches.
Right, but they're not big hangy outy baubles.
No.
What's the good hangy outy?
Hanging out, yeah.
But you know what I mean. Like they're not hanging off when I touch them. They're not loose and sitting on one stitch. It's just texture. Like when I run my finger over, it's just texture.
Yeah.
Because I would think making that many baubles in knitting would have been really onerous, right? Like baubles in knitting.
Yeah, it's actually really fun in crochet.
Right.
It's so loopy and you're just like, doo-doo-doo. You get in the zone and like, it's fun. And I like her patterns are a little bit more modern because, you know, there are a lot of crochet things, no shade to granny squares, but granny squares are like more of a vintagey kind of a look. And it's also fun to do I have some granny square stuff, like it's fun to do some more modern things with crochet as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And some shaping. Yeah, you can really see.
It's a nice shaping fitting sweater. And like I do have, I did get yarn for the sleeves. I just have a gazillion projects going. So have not added sleeves.
But you could wear it like this.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I'd probably do like it over some like a long sleeve top. Just to make it like a vest kind of a thing. Yeah. Because I would definitely die if I was wearing this in the summer.
Yeah. Is it wool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's West Yorkshire Spinners fleece.
Okay. Okay.
And then this guy, this is a design of mine. So this is my Sonora bag.
Let's hold it up too.
Yeah.
So you can talk about it.
So it is Tunisian crochet. It looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. People say it looks woven. It's actually just stripes. And it's a very, it's like simple stitches, and you just change colors, and that's what gives it that look.
And
it's
then you
so much fun
lined
to
it
do.
with...
I did with like some little bats and stuff.
Oh, cute.
Or moths.
Yeah.
All of it. Halloween stuff. I like Halloween. So it's got like a
really
Halloween
cute.
liner. So,
The name?
Sonora bag. And then I also have a Sonora mug rug.
Oh, so you could practice the stitch first.
Yeah, and I'll talk about my mug rug series because there were reasons why I created these mug rugs, and then it ended up just being kind of like a fun thing that I kept up with. But I wanted people to be able to learn Tunisian crochet. So this mug rug is called the Baby Cakes mug rug. It's a free pattern on my Ravelry. And you learn in the class that I teach, you learn all of the basics of Tunisian crochet. And once you know all the basics, you can go anywhere from there. It's very easy to learn the other things. Once you know these basics, this is the hardest part. And then you've got it and you can just go. So I started off with
For people who don't know, Tunisian crochet is a crochet needle with a long cord attached to the end of it with a knob or ball on the end. I don't know if that has a specific name, but
yeah, stopper
on the end.
What you do with Tunisian crochet versus regular crochet is regular crochet, you're working one stitch at a time. With Tunisian crochet, you're working one row at a time. So that's why you're picking up all of the stitches. So you have that big, if you're doing a shawl, you're gonna want a big long cord or a blanket or something, you know? And then you would take them all off. So that is why you need that shape of hook, and it's more just like streamlined instead of having an ergonomic handle on it. So
Okay, weird question.
Yeah.
Does Tunisian crochet come from Tunisia?
I don't know the history of it. You know, there really isn't a lot of history of it at all. I have a book and I was reading through it and I don't remember that part. It probably said in there and I'm guessing, but I could be wrong.
No, I don't know either. So
yeah, I haven't paid attention because they just like in the book they just talked about how much information there isn't. And so I was like, okay, this isn't important. And I didn't
for sure.
keep it in my brain.
But if other people don't know, then we don't have to know.
Okay, great.
Okay, so do you want to talk about the mug rug collection?
So I started off with the Baby Cakes mug rug, and this is a free pattern. I wanted people to get into Tunisian crochet, and then I was like, you know, we can use these little mug rugs to learn new techniques.
Yes.
And so I have some that correspond to some different patterns. So like this one is the Sonora mug rug. So if you want to learn this stitch, it's easier to practice on this than to like go for a whole bag. So then you learn the stitch. I do have a full blanket of this.
Oh wow.
The pattern's finished. I don't have time to make the sample, so I need to get a sample maker, but then that will come out once that's done. So this has been super popular, the bag. Yeah. Then I have, this is also the simple stitch. So same stitch as this. There's only one slight change you make and you can have shaping with it.
Wow, that's really neat looking.
Yeah, you kind of learn the shaping here and you learn about picking up stitches because you create a little triangle, you turn, pick up the stitches and keep going, you know, and then you do that. So there's only one little end to seam. The rest of it is all picked up.
Oh, okay.
So that is the Whirlygig mug rug. And then I have one that I don't know where it went, but I have the Liberty mug rug. So that you learn color changes mid-row and you learn striped color changes, kind of like how we do here. So this is the Can't Hardly Wait mug rug, and you will learn Intarsia with this one. So it was fun, you know, for Valentine's Day or whenever. So this is a new pattern that I haven't released yet. It is called the Don't Weave Me Hangin'. And so you kind of...
Let's hold that really close, because look at that.
You use Tunisian crochet, and then you pick some other colors, and then you weave them. But I personally hate weaving in ends. So then you do a technique to like knot the end of it and then fray it so that you don't have to weave in all of those ends. So there are no ends, there are 0 ends to weave in this mug rug. And I was like, that's my style.
Yeah, that's really cute.
Yeah.
That would be cute as a bag, as a sweater, as a hat, as all the things.
There are some...
You have a lot of work to do, sweetheart.
I do. I have some, and this one too is going to be like a couple of other things as well. Yep. So yeah, agreed. But those are my mug rugs.
Is this one that
that's
you have
the
to
same.
Okay,
it's the same as this one. Yeah, it's the baby cakes. You can get so many mug rugs out of a couple skeins of yarn. So I had 4 colors, and then they're all kind of similar because I very much like neutrals so much.
Yep.
And so I just did the little 3 stripes in those and then change colors, and you can make a whole set. And they go really quickly. They make great gifts. And then I'm thinking about doing like a holder for them, like a cute one. Also,
that'd be good.
Potentially in the future. Yeah. Maybe.
We're copywriting it here now.
Okay, done. It's done. It's going to happen.
No one else can take it. Because you said it here first, like mailing it to yourself. Okay, let's look at something else.
Okay, so this actually is the first Tunisian crochet project that I ever started. And it is the Loveland Shawl by Tony Lipsy. This is kind of what made me want to learn Tunisian crochet.
This feels amazing. It is thick but open, and
it's springy.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's heavy, but oh, wow. Feels really nice.
Yeah. I'm in love with this thing. These colors are actually... so Craft Me Not Yarn Co., when she first started dyeing, this was part of her first collection. And I was just obsessed with these colors. I got more of the same colors to someday make a sweater. I'm going to have to knit it though, because I don't have enough. And that was like years ago. So she doesn't have those colors anymore. But like, I'm obsessed. This is still one of my favorite things. I used to have little, like my little doggy soulmate, and I used the leftovers to make her a little version. I should have brought that. I didn't think of it. But yeah, it feels amazing. This is like, when people see this, they want to learn Tunisian crochet. And I love spreading Tunisian crochet around. So I'm like, yeah, because
I would say that if you're looking at that up close, it looks like stockinette in some of its iterations. But when you get it closer, you see that it's bigger, holier, and
it's got a different, like, so the back looks different. If you do a Tunisian crochet purl and you do a Tunisian crochet knit and you flip it over, they look the same on the back, whereas in knitting they're the opposite of each other. Yeah. So yeah, that's just lovely. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. So the next thing that I brought to show off is the first thing I actually finished. So I started this, and this is how I learned. And then I signed up for a test because I was like, I want to learn how to do more. And I saw this online and I was obsessed, and I knew I had to make it. So this is the Despite Shawl from Detroit Knots. And this was the first test that I actually finished. And this is 6 and 7 fibers in 3 different colors. And this was difficult. Because you were new to it? Because there is one stitch in it that is a little bit more advanced. Okay. The rest of them are fine. I was new, and so I was like nervous about it, but there's knit stitches, there's simple stitches, and there's purl stitches, and then there's one called the Tunisian reverse purl stitch. And everyone in the group was calling, in the testing group was calling it terps, the terps. And so even people who were like experienced Tunisian crocheters were kind of struggling with this one. And it is worth it. It is worth the work. You have to, one of the ways to make it easier on yourself is to put a lifeline in, because you actually are working through the back of the work, and it's so hard to see your vertical bars from the back. They kind of squish down, but if you have a lifeline in there that's a contrasting color, they just pop right out and it's way easier. But the reason for them is when you do a purl stitch, you kind of get that one bump that's kind of towards the bottom. And when you do a Tunisian reverse purl stitch, you get a bump that's towards the top. So if you want to have this pretty ridge like this, like I'll show you first and then we can show you, but this is the purls, so single, and then this is those together. So you get more of a pronounced ridge, and it's like, it's really beautiful. So this, oh, you can see it so clearly on your camera. This is a purl, where you can see the purl bump is towards the bottom of the stitch. And this right here is kind of like a thicker bump, because you have your purls there, and then this is the Tunisian reverse purl. So it just makes these thicker, like pretty ridges there. It's just such a lovely design. And
is this 3-color shawl?
Yes.
The kind of orange, gold, and then the variegated?
And then the variegated,
okay.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. This is the thing, when I finished it, I was like so proud of myself. I was just like, I can't believe I did this. This is like, it's a little more advanced, and I was just like, I did it.
For sure.
Yeah. So, and it was funny though, because I forgot to bind off. I was so excited when I finished. I was like, yay. And I just took all my photos and then edited them and sent them in. And later I was looking at it and I was like, that's funny, there's like kind of holes at the bottom. And then I realized, so I had the leftover yarn and I did go through and bind off, so there's not holes here anymore. But yeah, that was like rookie mistake. I was so excited. I was just like, done, you know?
Well, isn't that the way we all are when we finish something? Yeah, this one feels amazing too. I wish you guys could feel the squish. It's just almost like it's double knit at a big gauge, so that you just get a real squish factor. I would think that the way that they would drape on the shoulder with the weight would be really nice.
And it's so cozy when it gets cold in Minnesota, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it is just, I love Tunisian crochet in Minnesota and anywhere that gets cold, you know? It's so snug. It's one of my most popular designs. So this is a cowl that is called the Meditation Cowl. And there are options for buttons, and then there's options for seaming it. And there's 2 different sizes. So some people, like me, like a little bit more closed cowl because it gets cold here, you know?
Yeah.
And some people like them to be big and open. They don't want to feel anything by their neck. And so I made 2 different sizes for that reason. And this comes in a cowl version. There's also another pattern that is in a scarf and an infinity scarf. And again, I am in the works. I have the yarn and have started working on a meditation sweater as well. That would be convertible, like for a cardigan or a pullover.
So it's done on there's these diagonal ridges.
It's just done straight across. It's just done like so.
Oh, okay.
And then
because it looks like it's done on the bias.
That one's not. It's just like an optical. Oh, see, there's my little stain. I washed it with the buttons, and the buttons got the stain on there. And so the person who made the buttons has since changed the stain that they use. But so don't look at that. But otherwise, isn't that pretty?
Oh, it's really pretty. That's a shame. But I suppose you can just fold it so that it doesn't show.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make another one because it goes pretty fast and it's fun to make. So
yeah, do you use even more yarn with Tunisian crochet?
You do, yeah. It is a little bit of a yarn eater because you have
bigger
double
stitches
layers and double,
And I would think that you could still work as fast.
Oh yeah, it goes
Tunisian.
really fast. And the thing that's really nice is that with all those 3 techniques, with knitting, crocheting, and Tunisian crocheting, it uses different muscle memory. So if you're doing something a lot and your hands get tired, you can move to a different thing. And you're using different muscles. And like, I find Tunisian crochet to be very relaxing, especially the return pass. I kind of equate it to an exhale. And it's just, you're just kind of doing this. This is your return pass.
Yeah.
It's like very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. This is lovely. That would make a great, and this is really nice yarn.
This one is Malabrigo Mecha.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Mecha or something like that.
Yeah. M-E-C-H-A. That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
M-E-C-H-A.
This is the Cascades Cowl by PetiteKnit Co. So I test knit this for her, and this is before she started doing doodles. So,
Okay.
and I did not know how, I had never done color work. I had never done Latvian braids, and I'd never done corrugated ribbing ever. I just knew how to knit, and I was like, that's pretty, I'm gonna learn those things. So I signed up, and I almost failed the test. I had some drama around this. I was knitting, and my cat was laying on my lap, and he had never done this before, has never done it since. He decided to practice his circus act and just leapt through the center of it. It caught around his waist, and he went running. And so I was holding the yarn, and so it pulled some of it out, and I like screamed and chased him down, and then got some help fixing it. And then was able to finish on time, and it's like I'm just really proud of it. I just love it, and I love her patterns. It's got some, I mean, her doodle decks are so much fun. You can do so much with it, but even some of her patterns before she started doing that.
So people might not know
them.
what a doodle deck is either. I have all different kinds of viewers, so it's like a deck of cards with a stitch pattern of a motif on each card.
Yeah,
so you can mix and match color work motifs. So let's just say this was a card, you would just get this little V. It wouldn't be this big, but you would just get this little V on a card, and you could just knit a V across the row. Then you could flip over your card and pick something else. And she has decks, and they're called doodle decks, because she has them in all iterations. So she has them for parks and for holidays and for themes and cooking
Seasons
and all the
everything.
doodle decks. It's really blown up that you could become a doodle deck collector, and I don't know how many there are.
There's a lot, and most of the people that I know are like this collectors. They just, the second it comes out, they get that. And she's even got like, so she's got full decks, and then she's got like half decks, and then there's like mini add-ons, and there's stuff you can get. You can either buy the actual deck of cards, and she has a holder for it too, which is super smart. But then she also has like digital versions that you can get, and just like she started doing travel ones, and they're so fun. Yeah,
it's one of those, why didn't I think of that?
I know. Like, I was just
how many years was I charting charts and just making charts for things, right? And then never thinking that you could just publish just the little charts and then make it into a whole thing. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. And a lot of times she's made up cowls with the charts. So you can follow a certain doodle deck to make a cowl. You don't have to do the numbers on your own and everything. You can use your cards however you like.
It comes with schematics for 2 different styles of cowl. But then she also has like, now she's featuring more like you can do it on socks, you can do it on hats, sweaters. You can take those motifs and add them into anything.
Yeah, for sure. It's really brilliant, but this is really pretty.
Yeah, I love it.
Really pretty. Did you know how to do a Latvian braid at the time? Oh my gosh. That's pretty impressive that you just wing it on a test knit.
Well, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and then I just was like, I think I was saying the other day that like I'm not great at reverse engineering knitting, but I can follow the pattern. So if you tell me what to do, I can do it.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine how it's going to turn out until I see it coming together. You know what I mean? I have to see it, and I'm like, oh, this is really great. I have to trust the pattern.
Yeah.
So this is my first design ever. And
it's gigantic.
It is gigantic. So it will not be able to fit it on the screen, but it is called the Arrowhead Wrap, and it takes 5 colors. So there's a main color, and then there's these 3 colors here, and then the contrast color, and you can do this part in one color if you want to, but there is like kind of a speckly contrast color behind there.
Yeah, can you see there?
And that close-up you're doing right now is called the Arrowhead Stitch. That's why it's called the Arrowhead Wrap. Um,
And that speckle is really got these 3 colors in it.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of like where it all came from. I was trying to figure out, I was just kind of looking for something that would be fun. And this stuff, I actually made this out of Cascade Hampton. So it's cotton and linen.
I was going to say, this feels kind of similar to these. And I was going to say, is this cotton? I said, no, it's probably just the way Tunisian crochet feels. No, cotton and linen. This feels lovely.
Yeah. So this is like my spring version. I also have a version made out of Malabrigo Rios, and I intended to bring that and did not. But I have the Arrowhead Wrap. I also have the Arrowhead Throw, which is available in my Ravelry right now. It has different dimensions and stuff. I forget who it was, a friend's husband was like, these aren't arrowheads, why is it called that? And I was like, no, it's because of
The stitch.
this part is called the arrowhead. But yeah, it's been great. We did like a cowl for this. A friend of mine and I did a cowl for this last year or the year before. I don't even remember, but I've made like 4 or 5 or something. Like some of my
this is lovely.
friends who dye yarn have wanted samples of it. So it's fun and it goes surprisingly quickly, and it does use basic stitches, just a combination of them. And then you get eyelets. You can get this cool pattern. This is just a 2-row repeat of basic stitches. So
No, it's beautiful. I could really see wrapping up in that, because you could fold it and wrap it around your neck, or you could just wrap it around your shoulders. Yeah,
I was kind of imagining just like, you know, spring, fall, like fire pit night. Just a little wrap to throw over your shoulders, or if you're going to go out and sit on a patio or something and you just want a little thing to throw. I mean, a little thing, it's humongous.
Leah is going to start her own podcast.
Yes.
And it's going to be called
The Unfinished Object Podcast.
And she's going to have her first episode out shortly.
Yes, very shortly.
She's recorded it and she's edited it, and so you can all go over and so additionally on your podcast, what are you going to add?
So there is going to be, besides the normal just like finished objects and the whip list, obviously it's based on that, I'm going to have a little micro tutorial in each one. So the first one is one that I got from one of my students, a question I got from one of my students, and so I'm answering that question. But I'm hoping to, you know, in the future we'll get comments from people, and then I can acknowledge those things in future videos. And then the other thing is things that are going on in Minnesota. So events, get-togethers, just visiting local yarn shops, designers, just all that kind of local yarn buzz for Minnesota.
Stuff that's going on. Yeah.
Or if I go to Rhinebeck again.
Yeah, you might branch it out to Wisconsin and Iowa, South Dakota, those things too.
Oh, yeah.
I think places that things are happening. So yeah, that'll be good. You'll be talking about knitting and crochet and Tunisian crochet.
Yes. So I'm starting off with, I'm doing some of the like usual stuff where I talk about finished objects, and then I'm going to go through like my whip list. It was absurd. Like last year I made a spreadsheet for some reason. I was like, I should figure out how many whips I have, and it was in the 60s. So I've since reduced that, and
but in a year you couldn't reduce it down to 5, so there's still a lot of them out there, right?
Yep.
That's my whip tree, and all my project bags hang on it. I have just moved a couple off because it fell over, and so I need to reconnoiter it, and it was kind of a mess. So I just I need to look at the projects and see what's in there. And just say to myself, but that is my reminder. I like having them out and like in my face, because once you tuck them away, they're long forgotten, right? They're just like, oh, you open something and you're like, oh my gosh. I also have them on my project page on Ravelry. I didn't used to start my projects right away, you know, because then sometimes you just have a blank box. Yeah. But now, every time I open Ravelry, the top of my projects has and I think I have 3 rows right now. You guys too. But this is my most recent finish. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 18, right? And that is everything. And every time I open it, I look at that, and the oldest one 2017. How about this one? Is it? Yeah, 2017. So they go back that far, but when it's this just a gentle reminder. For some people that would drive them nuts, and for a monogamous knitter, that would drive them nuts. But that is about the time I started designing full time, right? And so a lot of those things never got picked back up again. And of course, I've casted on and finished things since then. I mean, because we all can hide our stash too, right? And then you forget how, right? It can be, you can tuck it away in some boxes or under the bed or in the closet.
Yeah.
And then, you know you have it, but it's easy to ignore. That's my theory.
Very much so.
I'm not sure it's helping me finish anything any faster, but it does remind me, oh, you've got that beautiful sweater. I mean, this is a beautiful color work, all over color work sweater that just needs to be finished. It's the rail trail sweater.
Okay.
See how pretty it is?
Oh my gosh, that's really fun.
It's really pretty.
I like that.
And I'm using beautiful yarn. Jill Draper is a dyer out of the Hudson River Valley, out of Kingston, New York. And I met her because she has a pop-up shop during Rhinebeck because her studio is there, in Kingston. And lots of people that go to Rhinebeck stay in Kingston. So she has a pop-up, and she usually does it on Saturday night. It's not a big event because her shop's not, I mean, it's a big event, but it's not like the other events because her shops can't hold, 500 people or whatever. Yeah. So I met her years ago, and then I designed a few of my items for my Knit Words book, my tote bag with her yarn, and my original Knit Words sweater tunic that has all the words all the way down it. I used her yarn. It's lovely. It's farm yarn. Nice. She gets beautiful farm yarns and dyes it. And when the farm yarn is gone, it's gone, right? Like you can't get more until the next year when she can get more and dye it. So you have to buy enough, but it's beautiful. And that's awesome. What that sweater was made out of. And I loved her yarn. It's very, very squishy. Yeah. Not squishy like merino. It has a depth like these, like the bounce and I love her yarn is amazing. Really nice. Awesome. But that's who she is. Cool. Just for education. I always like to just tell everybody everything because otherwise they're like, I don't know what they were talking, Tunisian crochet, or whatever it is. Yeah. So if I bring it up, I usually try to blurt it out. So how about other Crafters Gonna Craft events that are not going to be always called Crafters Gonna Craft? Yes. Because we should touch on that because you explained that to me when we talked last week. Yes. She came to my knitting group last week.
It was fun. I meant to come this week, but the day got away from me. So
that never happens to the rest of us. So
I know, right?
Never happens. Yesterday, I didn't get to knitting yesterday. So I had a knitting group and my computer had a problem in the morning and I had a pattern going out and I had the Geek Squad on and came and went, and I was like, this has to go out today. I have to sit here and watch the Geek Squad fix my little glitch.
Oh no, you had to wait for them to do that to release the pattern?
Well, they take control of your computer. So I purchased.
Oh, so this was remote.
I pay for a Geek Squad subscription so that if our computer had gotten slow, usually means you just have a bunch of temporary files or whatever. Yeah. It was I'm going to tell that story. Anyway, there's a whole story about why we might have gotten some malware through a spam or a scam. And so I really wanted them to do it in the moment. I was like, oh, if this is malware, I have a pattern that needs to go out. And so they get on and they remotely take control and they clean and they look. And then he says, did you put this on here? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And he goes, well, it's another search engine, but you use Chrome. I'm like, it pops up all the time and I close it. And he's like, I'll remove that for you. Because you never want to remove something that just has a bunch of gobbledygook behind it because you're not sure when you're in the back end if you should, right?
Some of that stuff is like if you were shopping and you put something in your cart, that's your cart. So your cart will be gone if you clear that. So yeah.
And so he's like, no, that's a search engine thing. And I was like, oh, please do that. But I just sat there and watched him for like an hour and 10 minutes just, and you watch it, it goes 89%. But
were you knitting?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was working in the office, but I needed it to get done. So my pattern, I was also waiting for the pattern to come back, but from my graphics lady, but it's one of those things. And I was telling someone last night, and she's like, you have what on from Geek Squad? And I said, well, I pay for a yearly thing so that they can come on and do my thing in the moment. Like,
that's really
and
good.
they come out to the house too, right? Like if your TV's not working or we didn't
they
have
do everything. It's not just
and we didn't have Wi-Fi and good connection in every room. So see that little white thing with the on the top of that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. Like they'll put those little Wi-Fi router boosters, whatever, in places where we didn't. Like the girl came out and she was like, okay, I think you do have a little kind of a something over here. And we're like, whatever, we cannot
She knew where to put, oh, that's cool. Because we have those, but we were just guessing. We were like,
right, well,
maybe here, maybe here.
We put one practically in every room. But I felt like if I walked through my house and I went out on the porch, I would sometimes lose the connection. And I would be like, I should be able to just... It's not that far.
No,
it's right
it's not.
there, right? So yeah, they come out. So it is kind of why I'm saying it, because I have no affiliation with Best Buy or Geek Squad, but those people know their stuff, and I get frustrated when my computer does not do what I need it to do, and it gets
same. And I'm not good with computers.
Really slow and whatever. And I think
figuring it out.
I don't know what it is. It's like $100 a year or something, and I probably use them 4 times a year. Like I use it. I'm like, anytime I feel like there's something something's not opening very quickly or whatever, I'm like, call them in. So that was my day yesterday. But anyway, see, I told you there will be at some point during the podcast that I might have to edit because I will go off on a tangent. I do a lot of editing.
Me
Are
too.
you going to continue having events? And what name will they be under? And where can people follow you on the internet? And what is your name? Because we didn't do that at the beginning.
Okay.
So you go by the Scarving Artist.
I'm the Scarving Artist. So that's my business. And I'm a designer and instructor, and then a soon to be podcaster, and then I do a lot of different things in the industry. So, and now this is the new venture. So the event was called Crafters Gonna Craft, and that's what most people know it as. But the company that put on Crafters Gonna Craft, my other company, is called Rough Craft. So we're gonna be doing some other kinds of events. Like Crafters Gonna Craft is like one thing, and there's gonna be a list of different things that we're gonna be doing throughout the year. And they'll have different names, but it's all going to be organized under Rough Craft. So,
and that's ROUGH craft, but like rough.
I know. I put my corgi in the logo.
Yeah, I know. So it's like dog friendly.
Yeah.
But you're also cat friendly, but cats don't rough. Well, I guess
true.
Cats can have a rough, right? Can't they have isn't it? Okay, am I crazy? Is it a rough when they get...
Are you talking about like a hairball?
No, but like a mane around the neck of something. Can't that be called a ruff? Not a ruffle, but okay, I'll look it up.
A scruff?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I'm going to look that up. You go right ahead.
Well, I'm showing, this is the logo. Is that going to be backwards? Whatever.
Nope. Not on my iPad. That's a beauty.
So that's my Bunsen. And then there's a cat too. So it's fiber events, but I am trying to figure out ways to tie in, because the event was dog friendly, and there were some amazing dogs there. There was a bunch of corgis, and Bunsen would have had so much fun, but he would have driven me nuts, so I couldn't bring him.
He wore a tunic of crimson velvet and a big starched ruff around his neck. RUFF is a thing around anything around your neck, and Elizabethan, but it can also be I think an animal that has a lot of fur around their neck, that can be a ruff.
Nice.
So you can do another take on ruff.
This is
FF and ROUGH. You could have a ruff event.
Mm-hmm.
With your rough craft.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I want to try to figure out a way to tie in like some kind of like puppy yoga or like some kind of cat yoga or something. But
I have never been to a cat cafe, but I'm
I
not.
want to go so bad. We have a couple now.
I know, but I'm not sure that people that have allergies could do it, but also
Yes.
the fur on your item.
I know, and that's the thing is also they will go for your stuff. So I'm like, how can we? I haven't figured it out yet, but I want to try to. That's one of my goals. Is
Okay,
to
if
try
you
to
guys
figure
have
out-
ideas for how we can have
integrate puppies and knitting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna work on that. But I have other.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing some pop-ups.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing. I'm gonna be working on a fiber retreat. So it'll be all kinds of. It's kind of like not just knitting. It's kind of crafts. Inclusive.
Yep.
So that's what we try to do. Is do
and I would
craft
say
inclusive
at
events.
Crafters Gonna Craft, there were pinball machines and there were food truck food and coffee and beer because it was at a brewery, but also people were doing lots of different crafty things. There was a couple people there painting little Dungeons and Dragons, I would
minis.
assume,
Yeah.
figurines. There were people playing card games. There were people playing board games down the hallway. Like it was, the energy was super high, but people were doing. I'm sure there was someone there drawing, like doing whatever they kind of wanted to do. It was mostly knitters, but there were other people doing other things.
There was a few spinners there. There was a few people doing
for sure.
weaving
Yeah.
with looms and like
sitting up on the tables. Yeah. So you were being absolutely craft inclusive.
Yeah, we're just trying to like make an inclusive space for all crafters of all kinds of crafts, if that makes sense.
Right, because someone could come and bead. They could do, it's kind of hard to sew, but you could hand sew for sure.
We're trying to create a space for people not only to come and shop, but to be able to hang out. And that was really important to us, is that like we want you to spend the whole day. There's lots of cool classes, lots of like you can get all your needs met as far as like if you need coffee in the morning, if you need food, if you need a beer, if you need a non-alcoholic beverage. Like we were trying to meet as many needs as we could to have it not just be like a quick like go over and do this one thing and then leave. We wanted people to hang out and like enjoy the day, and that's really what happened.
The energy, and I was somebody at knitting today was on a cruise when that happened, so she couldn't come, and she goes, "How was that Crafters Gonna Craft?" And I said, "The energy was really good," and I said, "and young," because it was younger people. Like there were older people there too, but you could feel the energy of a brewery and younger knitters, younger crocheters, younger crafters definitely were there. There were lots of,
but it wasn't because I've been to a knitting group where it felt like I didn't feel included. Because I was too old, and I was like, this maybe not. It may not be for me.
Right.
But I do feel like that, I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt to me like that there was people of all ages and everyone felt really like welcome to hang out.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Although I do think some of the brewery regulars were like, what are you doing here in our space? Like they weren't rude, but they were like, what the heck?
Yeah.
This place is packed.
Yeah, people were coming off the street just because they were like, what's happening in here?
Right, yeah. There was a little bit of that, like, shock value of, and they're knitting? But I felt like you could go and sit down at anybody's table and just say, hey, can I grab a chair at your table? We can't find a place to sit. And people would have been... And the flow was pretty good.
At first, it was a little nuts. But because the space, we were not allowed to charge tickets, so we couldn't do any kind of time to entry or anything. So there was like a big rush in the morning, but then it kind of it worked out its flow. And so then it just started, people were able to shop, they were able to hang out and do the classes.
And I don't think having that energy at the beginning is a bad thing ever, right? Like you want people to be so excited to get there at 10 o'clock and be in line and be the first ones in. Yes, was there probably some frustration for some people? Like, it was so... but you want to generate that kind of,
the excitement.
for sure. You really did. Both of you worked really hard that day. You guys were both exhausted, and your video it was great.
Yeah, thank
the
you.
video that they did on Instagram. You can go over, because you have a Crafters Gonna Craft Instagram.
Yes.
And you have a Rough Craft Instagram.
Not yet, but
Okay.
that is coming soon. So
Okay.
I'm going to be doing, honestly, what I may do is change it to Rough Craft, so that you can
that
just
makes
go
more
all
sense.
the followers, and like you'll just be able to see all
All
the
the
different
events.
events.
Oh,
instead.
makes much
Yeah.
more sense. Yeah. So
And I'll
go
have
follow Crafters Gonna Craft, and if
Yes.
it changes names, it's because she
It's the
has an
same
umbrella
thing. Yeah.
company. But that event was we would call Rhinebeck, and Shepherd's Harvest. Those events might be called something different depending on where you're having them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
So, and then I'm also going to be starting a Patreon so that we can continue to put on these events for people. And the kind of stuff that we're going to have on there is like exclusive video content, like vlog content and interviews and stuff with local designers and, knitters and crafters around Minnesota. And then you'll be able to vote on the next year's Crafters Gonna Craft theme/logo. And then you'll also, whenever we have venue spaces that we can charge tickets for, you'll get advanced tickets. You can buy tickets in advance at a discount. For that and for the classes. So there'll be a lot of benefits, and there may be more, but that's what I've come up with so far and what I'm in the process of working
so
on.
let's just be real transparent here. You had an event with no fee to get in, and you had teachers that you hired and vendors that got space from you, and you guys didn't make any money on the event. Right? Like, you worked really hard. You put together this huge event, and you didn't pay yourselves anything because the vendors and the stuff you sold paid for the teachers, and you didn't have to rent that space from them, or did you pay a small fee?
We had to pay a fee per vendor, and we had to rent out the classroom.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. So you can't continue this on ad infinitum with no generated income, just like you guys know with my podcast and my design business and my teaching. Like, you have to have support from people up front. And so inevitably, if maybe you have to have another event where you can't charge at the door, the Patreon is going to help you guys maybe put a little bit in your pocket so that the hours that you put in,
it was a lot of hours.
It was a ton. You guys, and you did your every Friday, you interview people who are going to be there and all that. So after we talked afterwards, I said, how did you guys make any money? Because there were some really great vendors there and stuff, but they paid me. Like, I got paid to teach, right? As I should. And she's like, oh, we didn't take any money.
I mean, it was our first, first.
You were willing to do,
Yes.
you had to see if it was a go.
And I had to see if people were interested in it, and like, if, the vendors and the instructors that we could get. There was so many ifs, and honestly, I was like really, really grateful for the way it turned out, because everybody that was involved was taking a chance on us,
Yep.
And so I wanted to make sure that they knew that, like, I was appreciative of that, and that I was like gonna try really hard, and I was gonna make sure that, like, it went
everybody
well.
else was successful financially. Everybody else got paid. So I get it. Will there be a chance that you will do an event outside of Minnesota?
Yeah, I think that's like, the thought is, once I can make this kind of more sustainable, I have had some requests to go to other cities to do this. One of them is Denver, one of them is like Cleveland-ish, and one is somewhere in New England. I would love to do it at like Portland, Maine or something. I love Portland, Maine. It's so great.
It is.
I love it.
We just went there on vacation not
Did you go to the yarn shop there?
I went to a bunch of them. I went to Swans Island. I went all the way up the coast of Maine and made my husband stop every time I found him. Of course I did.
Yeah, it's a great place.
So this wouldn't just only be Minnesota based eventually, right?
Eventually, yeah.
So,
once we can figure this out, I would love to take it to other cities. But we're thinking big, but
You have to start small. For sure.
yeah, starting locally first. So yeah,
that totally makes sense.
yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's all we have for you guys. So it's been an hour and 9 minutes. I'll edit a little bit, but yeah, that's about right. We're good chatterboxer.
Yeah.
And so thank you guys for all watching. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.